Let's get into it. So welcome, everyone. This is Nothing Lasts Forever. It's Nothing Lasts Forever, the podcast about November Rain with Tara and Robin, TN'R, talking GNR, talking November Rain. And we have a guest today, Brando from Appetite for Distortion. How are you?
Hey, Robin. Hey, Tara.
Hi.
It's been a while because you guys were on my podcast many moons ago. So it's nice. I appreciate you inviting me on yours. So.
Of course.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you.
It took so long. Robin and I live with like a constant state of mild chaos.
Yeah, we do.
That's
both professionally and personally.
That's the world I live in. So I understand. No worries. So no, I appreciate you guys having me on, inviting me into your living room, whether it's Roseanne's or not.
Yeah, it is. Tara's in Roseanne's living room.
Yep. Landford, Illinois.
Well,
Hi,
amazing.
Landford, Illinois. It's Nothing Lasts Forever.
Well, Brando, you're on the East Coast too. So that's the other thing. We have to coordinate across time zones, which has always been hard for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just did someone else's podcast, Fox and the Wire. I'll give him a shout out, but he's in Australia.
Oh,
That's like tomorrow, or is it like yesterday in Australia? I don't really understand.
It's tomorrow because I've had to do that with a few guests.
Your yesterday. Okay, get it.
So I guess if it's 7
they're in
o'clock,
the future.
All right. Yeah. I
How
don't know.
Australia get the future?
Australia gets the killer animals. They get everything.
Yeah. Robin would love Australia. They have a lot of snakes.
Yeah, I've talked about this before. Australia, this is something my dad says. He says, North America has got a lot of people and not a lot of poisonous snakes. Australia has got a lot of poisonous snakes, but not a lot of people.
So people are just dropping dead left and right.
No. Both those places don't have many snake deaths. They have not a lot of people, but a lot of snakes
happening.
India has a shit ton of people and a shit ton of poisonous snakes. So I'll never go there.
I'm more fearful of the giant huntsman spiders.
Oh God, they're this big.
Size of puppies.
Yeah.
They'll just go in your house. Go watch videos of it. Just
yeah.
I'm not gonna watch a video of that.
And I like spiders, but I mean, like I have to draw the limit at like a 3-pound spider.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Even I have my limits.
Tara, is that a spider tattooed on your hand?
Well, yeah, and see, I mean, that's just to make me look hard.
And it does.
It does, but it's all a facade. I don't want to hang out with giant spiders.
Okay. No, like 8-legged freaks. None of that.
Yeah, David Arquette.
Some people like that.
Got the reference. Good.
So, Brando, you are you're kind of like the grandfather of the Guns N' Roses podcast, or what is it? Like the godfather? What?
Godfather sounds right.
You've been doing it. You're the OG.
I mean, I appreciate that. I feel that there were ones before me that maybe lasted, like the early days of the internet. I'm not overly familiar, so I don't want to say I was the first, but this was probably before the reunion happened. Me and my then co-host, still current friend, Ian Scotto, we both worked in radio. He just wanted to do. He's like, we should do a Guns N' Roses podcast. And I thought it was the dumbest idea ever.
Yeah, it sounds like a really dumb idea. And here we are.
I know. And yeah, here I am. 5 years later.
I mean, I would say it's a dumb idea if it didn't get us laid, Robin, but.
Nice. Okay. I'm trying to think. Yeah.
You never know. Brando.
That was in my Tinder and Bumble profile. When I was
there, you go.
It said hosts a GNR podcast, and people, I'm like, I don't know, the right kind of people will inquire about that. So
that's true. Yeah.
Or you can just go down to the Rainbow Bar and Grill.
Yeah, we've spent too much time there.
We don't go there anymore.
I'm actually, this is interesting. I'm taking my parents there on Friday. And Tara thinks it's a bad idea.
I do think it's a bad idea. I would never take my parents there.
I think it's an okay idea. I talked to my brother yesterday and asked him, should I take our parents to Rainbow Bar and Grill? And he said, yeah, a lot of old people are there all the time.
Yeah, I guess, it's is maybe missing the point. And I don't know if you are too. You never know you're going to run into, Robin.
Yeah.
Because you have to tell me this is what I'm envious of. You guys are in the heart of it. Me as a New Yorker, I have to dream of La La Land, and I've the furthest out west I've ever been was this summer, Arizona. Does that count? No. So I've yet to
It's
go
the
to
West, but no, yeah, we are definitely. I mean, we live in Los Angeles.
right.
I
So
wouldn't
you've
say
been to
we
the
live in
Rainbow,
the heart of like Guns N' Roses Ville, but it's not far. We could dip, like we can pop in for the night if we choose to.
which is
And we used to choose to pretty often. We were just talking the other night about like when the world opened back up in July in Los Angeles. Robin and I went real hard, real fast. A lot of nights at the Rainbow, Sunset Marquee. God knows what else the fuck we did. But it's like now that like life is like normalized, I'm so back to going to bed at 10 p.m. every night, including Friday and Saturday. Like it was fun while it lasted, but that's why I never want to see the inside of the Rainbow Bar and Grill again. So
okay, all right.
if you come, Brando, we'll take you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because I enjoyed the posts on Instagram because I've never been. You hear stories about Lemmy, so you make it sound like a dangerous place now. You can't go there, or they're just mischievous guys out there that you just don't want
anything that can go wrong does go wrong at the Rainbow, and anything that can go right goes right at the Rainbow. It's like a choose your own adventure.
All right, fair enough.
But it's always an adventure.
Noted.
So as far as west you've got is Arizona. That's so the Zonies consider Arizona the West Coast, but
it's not the West Coast. It's the western part of the United States.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we did some. Where did we go? We went to Phoenix, and I actually drove up to, which was kind of a side, like a detour in Arizona. I met up with Alan Niven, the manager, the ex-manager.
Yeah.
And we had just been kind of friendly via email, having interviewed him a couple times, which that doesn't always happen, but we kind of connected on something. And I just said, hey, I'm going to be in Arizona if you want to meet up for lunch. And he's like, sure. So we did. Little did I know, because look, this was something like I hear like the traffic about in LA and California. And now I'm afraid to drive anywhere that's not New York because of what I experienced in Arizona with all the twists and turns. So I got car sick and I couldn't hold it in. I'm sure I told this embarrassing story on my podcast. I had to have. So I wasn't driving. So I'm in the back seat asking to be pull over every 5 minutes because I can't hold it together. But I want to meet Alan Niven. I'm like this. I'm on this.
Yeah.
I'm never going to get Arizona ever again, probably. And on the way to this, I don't know, it was like a bistro restaurant kind of thing. I get out of the car, I get the spins, and all of a sudden I just throw up like in the handicap spot. And the next thing I know, I feel someone rubbing my back, but that wasn't my fiance, and I look up, it's Alan Niven. So apparently I threw up, and they had a window. What's that?
He comforted you. Robin and I actually both suffer from motion sickness.
Yeah,
we can relate to Los Angeles is it would make you throw up in just a different way.
Yeah,
but it would.
Fair enough.
But that's great. Yeah, he did comfort you. So he lives in Arizona. I guess I knew that. Isn't he British?
Yeah, I think he grew up in Britain, but he's from New Zealand, so he's a Kiwi. So, but he lived in Prescott, and yeah, him and his wife had like the window seat. So they said like, who is that guy? He's really sick. Then it turned out to be me, and I eventually got the color back in my face after he bought me some iced tea and some French fries. But yeah, and then if you see, we took a picture at the end all together in front of the spot where I threw up. So that was fun.
Well, you have a good story, so that's like the most important part,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Good stories. So you've been doing it for 5 years, and you release an episode every week too, as well.
More or less. I think I try to aim because I don't think it ever goes too long. Maybe 5, 10, maybe a couple weeks, but I'll let people know. But that's rare.
Mm-hmm.
Once a week, I don't have like a dedicated day, and sometimes I don't know. Interviews will just come in, and I like the live feel of it, so I don't like holding on to a podcast.
Mhm.
I want to say, hey, I did this interview 2 weeks ago. Here it is. Sometimes that happens, but I try to put it out right away.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the beginning, I think it was like every other week or once a month with my my partner Ian, and he just couldn't keep up. And then that's when I was like, what am I going to do? Do I want to continue with this? And at that point, I tasted enough of like interviewing some cool people and getting some online notoriety that I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go all in. And it's been fun. It's been fun. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You like, I go to your podcast to learn about Guns N' Roses often because you have interviewed so many people, like almost just everyone, like, is what I think.
Not everyone, but yeah, it's been I say that kind of laughing now because I got rejected again from Tracy Guns. And
Ooh, I have a lead on Tracy Guns.
I had a lead for so many times.
I know. I feel like my lead is decent. He says he thinks he can get it. And who's the other fucking guy? It's Tracy Guns, and what's the other dude's name?
Phil
LA
Lewis,
Gun? Huh?
who's in the band, you mean?
The other, like the
Are you asking for another band member or
yes.
Phil Lewis?
It's Phil Lewis. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get Phil. I've had Phil, and he was great.
Yeah. So
That's
we have
why-
a lead on Phil and Tracy.
Is
But-
Tracy just saying no, I don't want to come on, or is he ghosting you?
So let me I'll ask you, and this is part of all these years. This isn't like how I started the podcast, because even though I work in radio, very low level in the totem pole. I'm lucky to be able to do what I do for Premier Radio Networks and iHeart at this point in my career, but I'm not Ryan Seacrest. I'm sitting in cat litter in my apartment in Queens. I'm not very, I'm lucky with my career, but with Tracy, yeah, I got leads early on. I interviewed Billy Rowe from Jet Boy, who's now in Buckcherry, I believe, who's really cool, and other people, because Tracy's a very accessible guy, and he's also very responsive on Twitter.
Yeah.
And sometimes, believe it or not, you can book guests on Twitter. I don't do that often, but it does happen. So you try to interact at least. And this was a couple years ago. I had added whatever the kids say at Tracy, and he responds. And I think I asked him, like, I hope to interview you one day. And he's like, no, I don't really do podcasts, but thank you. And then, like, next thing you know, he's on other podcasts and radio shows. But my response was like, all right, respect. Like, I'm not gonna. All right, that's fine.
Tracy,
But yeah,
he's not
Tracy-
doing podcasts.
I mean, he does other ones. So I've also dealt with, I don't know how, I'm perceived by people, but there is a GNR block to interviewing certain people, and it goes beyond Axel, and it's just low level, like cease and desist orders. It's just like what's the agreement you have to sign?
NDA.
NDA, yeah, NDA. Like, I couldn't interview the harp player on Prostitute because of an NDA.
We couldn't interview the guy that makes fucking Axl Rose's t-shirts
So I'm
for
glad you tried.
similar reasons.
So those things happen, and there are others like the Goldstein and Alan Niven being like, "Yeah, go ahead, sue me. I have no money. Go fuck yourself." They just don't do it. But there are others. I don't know.
Can't bleed a rock.
I'm not going to make people do what they're uncomfortable doing. I'm not. Even when I get them on an interview, I said, "Do you want to talk about this? Is this okay?" So I just didn't. Tracy, all right, didn't happen. And then this time around, I somehow got in contact with the LA Guns manager. I didn't. I'm glad I have an opportunity to talk about this because this is fresh on my.
Yeah.
And I know we got to talk about November Rain. So this is your show. Cut me off. I got in contact with the LA Guns manager through, I don't know, he heard about one of my interviews and he wanted some more information. And he was a really nice guy. And I told him about not getting Tracy. And I said, I hope it works out one day. And he's like, you know what? Now I was the one holding it back. And I'm sorry. I'm like outing him. He's a very nice guy. Both of them, my direct interactions, except for, I guess, this one I took too personal and maybe I shouldn't have posted, but whatever. This is like 5 years into it. I get Phil Lewis. I followed up a couple weeks after. But Phil Lewis, by the way, I didn't even ask any GNR questions. It was all about LA Guns for the most part. I wasn't.
Phil, the thing is, Phil has some really strong connections to the Portland music scene. So the people I know, people that like played with Phil and Tracy. So I'm trying to kind of come at it from like that angle rather than like a journalistic angle. Be like, hey, like, hey, we're both like friends with this person. You've played with them many times. Like,
Sure.
you
I
know,
hope it
maybe get
happens.
them both on. And that's sort of like the angle that I'm going for. And it's just
But so
I
you
hate-
asked Phil, you told Phil about Tracy.
So I hope it happens, but like with my initial this was years ago, approach to go to Tracy was to have Billy Rowe as my guest co-host, and we would both co-interview Tracy. Same
Mhm.
thing, kind of like a friend kind of situation, because I don't want people to be in an interview, or they think it's just I just want to talk Guns N' Roses for 60 minutes every second. But this time around, I was told, like, I asked, like, what's the possibility of getting Tracy after Phil? Follow up with me next. Ask me the same question next week. What would you it's like a relationship. How would you interpret that when someone's like, ask me the same question next week?
it's this is no. I mean, guys say that to me all the time.
No, do they really?
Let's follow up next week.
Okay. Okay. And
I'll hit you up next week. Okay.
okay. So I
From
followed.
like, yeah, okay, yeah,
Oh,
you followed up.
then, on the contrary, I do the same thing. I'm busy this week, but I'll hit you up next week. Not hitting them up. No one's hitting anyone up next week, guys.
But you just say no, or I'm
But
fine
but
with that.
but yes, of course. But like nobody wants to let anyone like therapy. I don't like to let people down. I don't like to reject people. Even when I am rejecting them, I'm gonna do it in like a manipulative, roundabout way.
Mm.
Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe that's what
It's
this
very
guy is doing.
possible. I don't know. And then there could always be some some honesty in that. You never know.
So that's why I'm asking you're the experts. I want your opinion.
I mean, we've gotten Robin and I
Well,
send out a lot of interview requests and get a lot of non-responses. So if
That
we
happens.
get a response at all, that generally will lead to an interview, right, Robin?
sure, yeah, I'm like, I think if
If
people
they
don't
respond
want
to us, let's follow up later. Let's do this. Let's do that. Usually that will eventually lead to interview. But if it's a non-response, right off the bat, if there's no communication returned,
yeah,
it's
Oh, sure.
never going to happen. I mean, if you already have some kind of dialogue open, I don't know.
well,
Then let me say, then as somebody, look, I gotta learn not to sell myself short with a lot of stuff, because that's just my natural personality. But yeah, I've just with this podcast, I've interviewed a lot of people and have sent out a lot of interview requests, and I've done that with just my radio career. And I'm used to all sorts of rejection, no responses, not now. And I've followed up with some people for years, or not, I don't know about years, but maybe like a year. One example was Andrew Stockdale. I was trying to get him since February, and I got a yes in February, and it just happened last month. Sometimes you got to follow up. There's so many reasons, but this time maybe I took it personally, and I'll say, because Tracy Guns responded to my Facebook tag like days after, so I was like, why is this post blowing up today? Just saying, like, I offered just to talk LA Guns with him and how his Hanukkah was. No GNR talk, not the same questions, and I was like, shame. In my opinion, meaning like it's a shame. Like I'm bummed out. And his
LA
response,
Guns is playing New Year's Eve
go, let's promote
down
him.
in Hollywood. And
Do
Robin,
it.
I mean, we've talked about going, but it's like we haven't really followed through. But I mean, if we
Brando, you should come out and go and get him.
if
But
we
yeah,
do
but what
end
did
up
he
going, maybe we could corner him for you.
what did he reply? So you got in your Facebook mentions?
Yeah, very polite. Just saying, like, you're making it sound like I'm avoiding your podcast, which is how I took it. Honestly, at this point, that's exactly how I took it. And if he's saying no, and he was like, have a good day with like a heart or whatever, he's like, I'm paraphrasing, but it was a very classy answer, no anger, whatever. I'm like, okay, you know what? Then my bad. I apologize, but still, I don't regret saying anything, because people ask me, get Tracy Guns to do your podcast, get this person. So after all this time, I'm letting people know, because it's fun. I think I'm not really letting people on super dirt. I'm not like outing anybody, their history, the criminal career. So yeah, I'm gonna let people know why I'm not getting certain people. And if that person doesn't like it, well, too bad. I'm no one of consequence. Who gives a shit what I say? So
I love this like brewing internet beef between you and Tracy Guns.
all of a sudden today,
Very cool.
And it got me followers on Facebook, which was not the plan.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? I'll take it. I got
A good internet beef you'll lose some followers, but you'll win some as well.
That's
So
what This world needs another Jew on Jew crime.
Tracy Guns, what else? He is very active on Twitter. So
He's a nice guy in social, like whatever. I don't care. But this last time, I took it personally. I made a post out of it. You know what? Got a lot of response. So that's what the internet is. He's moving. He doesn't care. I don't care. I'm moving on.
A lot of my job on the podcast is making sure that Tara doesn't go out and say mean things to potential guests often.
Where would I even have a forum to do that, Robin?
In emails, I say, don't send that. Don't say that.
I've never typed anything out.
Well, that's her gut instinct. And so I'm like, hey,
I'm not an ass kisser. It's not my style. It never will be. I mean, I did take your advice one time and you were right, but like, I don't, that situation, any situation, like, non-responses, and it can get frustrating. It can get frustrating. I think that people deserve a little more respect than that.
But. Yes, I do. And there's also, I mean, I understand the other side of it where people are so busy, and it's the truth, because I've gotten, bring it back to relationships. Sometimes people are just busy and they have other things on their mind, and it's not a purposeful thing. I only really respond to malicious and negative stuff. So perhaps I took this last one a little malicious.
Robin wouldn't let me respond to that either. Someone asked me last night if we've ever gotten any like hate mail. And I said, yes, but and hate mail is not even the right way to put it. The only like really negative feedback we got was from the Buckethead fans.
Okay.
And it was like, PG rated. It was like, they didn't even come down that hard, but it was like the first time we heard anyone kind of criticizing us. And, if my instinct was like you, Brando, I wanted to defend us. Because that's what I would do like in my normal life. I don't know these fucking weird Buckethead fans, anything.
I know. It's
but
thing you got to learn. And I was,
because this is this is a November Rain podcast, not a Buckethead podcast. At the end of the day, like I really don't give a fuck. But
I know, I understand. I was defending myself against Tracy Guns fans.
Right.
I'm not even getting angry because I don't care about their opinion. They don't know like my story. They at face value, sure, I don't blame you for getting angry. But so I let that, and I've heard some. Thankfully, I've been doing this long enough because I've been hearing enough positive stuff. But of course, there are negative things that creep in.
I don't think there's anything wrong with like defending your own honor, in a mildly constructive, half constructive, half like bitchy way. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's,
We're Guns N' Roses fans.
Yeah.
Like, come on. We're allowed to be emotional. Defend ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, apparently I'm not. So.
Okay.
So Brando, like I just mentioned, this is a November Rain podcast, and although it's taken on all kinds of varying forms since its inception, at its heart, at its core, it'll always be a November Rain podcast. And I guess I have where does November rank for you on like music videos in general, Guns N' Roses music videos, and then songs, both in general and Guns N' Roses? Like, what's your relationship with November Rain?
Mm-hmm.
It's number one for all of it.
Really?
Honestly. Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny,
My man.
I don't want to get too cheeky here, but I have like can I spin? It was my first tattoo. I can't
spin.
Hold on.
Let's give us the spin.
You have a November Rain tattoo?
I'm gonna get more to it. Hold on, I gotta get kind of.
Let's do this. Yeah.
It's fine.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah.
I can't see it. I see it. It's user illusion. It's the Raphael. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Little boy writing in his book. So yeah, that's my nerdom before I had a Guns N' Roses podcast, and I'm any sort of quote unquote. I said this in another podcast. The only expert on Guns N' Roses is Axl Rose. So I mean, it's just been a fun addition to my actual career. But anyway, so with November Rain, yeah, I've always was that's what made this interesting. I'm a regular person who happens to work in radio, who happened to love Guns N' Roses, and I don't know. As I was younger, and we spent the first few episodes talking about this of the podcast in general, of just like what got us into being in a band, or being fans.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when they're not my first favorite band, I think, was Green Day, and I was 12.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Just guess. I'm curious. I won't be
I
offended.
guessed you to be around my age, so 37, 38.
Oh, we're right on it. 38. So.
Okay, I
Yeah, we're all the same age. Yeah.
I guessed you to be just like a peer of mine. That was like the vibe I got. So
We're
yeah,
peers.
that would track. Yeah, Green Day, 12. Yeah,
Yeah, we're peers anyway. So I mean, it was an
Mm.
interesting time of
cohorts. How about that?
GNR comrades.
Mhm.
So
I
it was-
refuse to use the word comrade, but in this case, maybe.
Sure. It was an interesting time to be that age around, 1991, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we're
I
all,
mean, in 1991, we were 8 years old.
and that's kind of when you absorb. I was kind of transitioning out of the Muppet Babies and going into
Right.
like, rock and roll. I found out that I liked, 50s rock and roll. And when I found like a new band, when MTV was kind of new to me, you see bands like Green Day and Basket Case and Dookie. I mean, that was my first album I ever got. My mom
Mhm.
bought me the cassette and put it in my Hanukkah stocking, which is something I said. But there was something when it was unavoidable with Guns N' Roses. You turn on the radio, and I grew up listening to classic rock radio, and to hear, November Rain or Welcome to the Jungle first, probably, definitely first, Sweet Child of Mine. But there was something about that video. I'm just like, I can't believe like this is what's can be achieved in a rock video. Like it's just and it rocks. It's not like I don't know. It wasn't like a ballad. It wasn't just some sort of soft. It was just something more than I ever expected, like a rock band that could be. And I'm like, you know what? This is like what I am. Like I have that hard rock edge. You know why I gravitated towards Axl? Like you have this angry side, you have this deep contemplative side. And it's just like you have
Right,
this
like Axel, I was telling
side.
Robin, and I think she kind of blew it off, but like I'm a big fan of Chinese Democracy, the record, and there are songs on that record, like he's got these like breakup love songs on all of the records, right? But there are songs on that record. I mean, it's like it hits. Like you could really feel his emotion in some of the songs on Chinese Democracy, and it sounds so silly because it's considered a silly record, but like the guy was a big feeler, but he was also really angry, but he was an empath. So I totally agree with you. He's kind of feels really real, even though he's this larger than life figure.
Yeah, and that's what I identified with, because I grew, Green Day for me didn't grow up to be deeper, because you had the Appetite for Destruction, and that was great. But it's like then you get Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, and it's like this journey that you couldn't experience anywhere else. The internet wasn't around at that time, and to listen to like 2 albums back to back. Excuse me, I have a hairball, so I don't know if you may have to edit this out because I have a hairball. I also have a Ninja Turtles thermos.
Look at that, yeah.
I could have done a Ninja Turtles podcast. Hold on a sec.
They have a bleed over. We were just watching something. We watched that Vanilla Ice Ninja Turtles music video the other day. Can't remember why.
Ninja Rap.
Ninja Rap, because we were watching MC Hammer, and it made me think of Vanilla Ice. And Ninja Rap is cool.
That was actually on TV the other day, The Secret of the Ooze. And of course, there's that rumor that Axl was once late because he was watching Secret of the Ooze.
That sounds true.
I've never heard that rumor. That's a great rumor.
That sounds cool and true.
Although, yeah, I'm gonna piss off. I learned this early on. I don't know if you guys we were talking about booking. I don't know if you guys have dealt with other trolls other than Buckethead ones. But early on,
sure.
I just mentioned that because my then co-host, current friend Ian, in addition to Guns N' Roses, we both love Ninja Turtles. And actually, it's one of our logos. We had to made up in like the
Robin admitted that she was sexually attracted to one of them. Which one was it?
Raphael,
The purple one.
I think the purple one. The one that had Corey Feldman's voice.
Donatello.
Donatello, yes, he's purple. Yeah. I had a big crush on Corey.
In the Ninja Rap viewing.
I had a big crush on Corey Feldman. Kind of still do.
Okay.
Well,
The Coreys.
He's an interesting character. And sorry for coughing because I've been talking all day.
I'm
Yeah.
baking. The coughs are coming. The coughs are coming.
Who did I speak to today? Lit, the band Lit.
Yeah. Are they still active as a band?
They are, and they're coming out with new stuff. We'll learn about it, and also their GNR ties, and Dave Navarro, Billy Morrison, which was like,
Yeah. So oh man, I was like, so when Robin sent me that was your itinerary today, and the one that stood out to me the most was Billy Morrison. I thought that was like out of the three, kind of like the cooler one.
he was really
If you
great.
want to, now you're making me want to drink some water.
Yeah, I've been going since it's 7:30 my time. I've been going since 4, which is fine. I'm excited. You know, I've had breaks.
Yeah.
Well, we'll try to keep this right at an hour because I think that
I'm breathing in cat hair also. It is true. Like I told you, I'm sitting in.
well, look at this.
But the go.
Can you see her? Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh, what a schmoo. Black and white.
It's Ripley.
Yeah, I like that. So
It's Ripley.
to go back to November Rain, yeah, it was just something. The epicness of it, the story, it's just resonated with me. I'm like, this is the kind of person I want to be. This is what kind of the rock and roll I want to be associated with. So yeah, I never thought it was overblown. I'm not one of those people. Like it was too. Some people were like, oh, it's too. It's not. I loved it, and then with the song too. It's I do. It's hard to live up to, at least for me, having not seen the band until 2002, my first time with Buckethead.
Hell yeah.
I'm so jealous.
But it's hard to. I look back. I'm like, did that really happen?
I know. Was that like?
And Buckethead did the
Yeah,
November Rain
Mandela effect.
solos. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the back of Madison Square Garden. I was on the floor, but I was in the
So cool.
back, and I'm short, so it was hard to see stuff. But you see him passing out toys and Axel.
He passed out toys.
That's his
I
thing. He passes out toys.
Of course, I know it's his thing, but I don't think I thought about the fact that he did it when he was in Guns.
Yeah, I was like, why is he using
Amazing.
nunchucks?
God,
Like, why
what a
is he?
guy.
So
I
cool.
know. And it
What a
made me a
guy.
fan. It made me a fan, even though I love Slash. I'm like, I like this Buckethead guy. I don't know what it is. This is
Buckethead's very, very likable. There's
Yeah.
really nothing not to like about him for me except his music.
Oh, you don't even like his music? You know, like
I don't like his Buckethead. I like his stuff with Guns N' Roses. But
Have you ever heard? I mean, do you like orchestral music in general, or like
no.
guitar work in general? All right. So if you don't like,
I like some of like the guitar virtuosos, but in different capacities, like instrumental, no. But like, the greats that like worked with bands, I don't know, like I mean, I
will
could think of,
say-
like I don't know, like Michael Schenker and like, the
Sure.
guys that like invented sounds, like Tony Iommi and
Like,
Richie
you wouldn't go-
Blackmore. So that's more of the level I'm at.
but you wouldn't go see like Steve Vai, right? 'Cause
I would rather fucking kill myself.
I wouldn't. I would normally say I wouldn't want to do that either, but I wanted to experience Buckethead live, other than with Guns N' Roses. So this was at BB King's Blues Club in New York City before it closed down a couple years ago, before the pandemic. Might have been 2019. To see him live, I'm like, why am I gonna like this? It was such a bare bones stage, and just seeing him, and yeah, he had a sack of toys, he had severed head masks, and it was awesome. So
I would
Buckethead-
love. Robin and I are keeping tabs on Buckethead. Like the second he's within a few hundred miles of Los Angeles, we're gonna be there. No question.
and
But
I-
like it's more. I like him as like I guess I like him as a person more than as a musician.
Well,
really.
it's funny you said that he's the most likable. But at the same time, we got into it because we thought it was silly. Whatever. So once you
Right.
know more about, once you get one step into the Buckethead verse, yeah, he's great. We
you
love
come
him.
down with bucket flu, and it's more serious than COVID.
Yeah,
It's we have long haul bucket flu.
yeah, we do.
Oh, it's absolutely great. I've loved it since the 2000 VMAs. I'm like, why is Slash wearing a bucket on his head?
Yeah,
People
Not-
thought it was Slash.
Yeah, and I was one of those. I didn't understand. That's
Mhm.
what I was. I was new to the GNR forums and everything.
a
at
lot
the-
of people were new. Yeah, at that point, but that was a whole new audience for them.
but even
Okay, let's come back to November Rain. Because we get really lost in the
First
Buckethead.
show, I
Yep.
don't want it to go over. I'm sorry. I don't if I do that.
No,
accidentally.
I just like it because if we stay on Buckethead, we will stay on
And as
Buckethead.
much as we want to, I want to. I know we have to like rein it in.
Time.
Yeah. But okay, so November Rain, so the thing about November Rain too, we've been watching a lot of other videos. We watch November Rain a ton, and then, it gets like, well, whenever I go back to other videos and come back to it, I'm like, it's really the best. And the other thing is when you start to watch Don't Cry in Estranged a lot, November Rain just is light. I mean, it just makes sense. It's
it's cohesive
it's
sanity
cohesive.
compared. It
Yeah.
also, the more you watch all three videos, November Rain will always stand alone, but like really, like Robin has said this, it's one giant video. It's one,
Yeah.
But November Rain makes the most sense. Don't Cry makes zero sense. And
Yeah.
Estranged is, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Literally.
Don't Cry. I guess think of the scene with the three axles pointing at each other, and now with the meme of
In the
three
room.
axles.
I
Yeah.
love pointing at each other, Axel.
It is the early version of the Spider-Man meme.
Right.
Wow.
And there's also a side by side of one of those Real Housewives people that yell, and then the cat looking at the other side.
Oh yeah, I love that cat.
I forgive me what Guns N' Roses video it is, but Slash is being yelled at by a girl in a car.
That's it. That's Don't Cry.
Don't Cry.
It's Don't Cry. That's what I thought. And you lined them up. I did one. Another listener. I saw it on Reddit and I shared it. And yeah, so it's like Slash created the meme. So GNR was, ahead of their time, including with the video.
Truly.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot to break down. And I noticed, I don't know if you guys have gotten more to this story, and forgive me, I forget the guy's name, but who may have jumped into the cake.
His name.
So,
the name came from you.
Right.
And thank you for that. I mean, it's a name I speak out loud daily, and it's Steve Henderson.
There you go, Steve Henderson.
So let's get into the cake. Okay. So we've been trying to figure out the cake jumper, and we said, my brother and Tara, they've been saying, spend a month to try to figure out who this cake jumper is and just like really get into it. So we put up the billboard. I don't know if you saw. It's like very stupid.
I like it. So
yeah, I'm like kind of embarrassed about it, but we put up a new billboard that has a picture of the guy barreling through the cake with a tip line. We've gotten 0 tips so far, except for Tara like prank calling it at weird hours. And then so I started to do a little bit of research about the cake guy. And you know what? I couldn't find anything.
What's a common name?
The only thing about the cake jumper that I can find, it literally, Brando, it leads me to your tweets. You have the like, what's in your mentions is the most information about the cake guy that I can find.
So I wish, and I'm glad I tagged the guy who mentioned Steve Henderson. So by all means, you could follow up with him. But it was on my previous Twitter account, which was suspended for sharing my own videos of going to concert. I shared absurd when I went to go see. So whatever.
Yeah, it's wild because we shared shit too. I don't know.
But
I'm targeted. People don't like me for whatever reason.
They report it. They hit that report.
Because I've said so much stupid shit. I don't know how we're getting away with any of this.
No, that's like the copyright shit. So
then I apologize for doing your show because maybe now you're going to be targeted because of me.
Hey, we're ready for the big time, Brando.
Bring it on.
I mean, look at me. I'm a big bad asshole. I mean, I'm just like what you were saying before, Tara. Sometimes you got to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Some people don't like that. Right. Sorry, you don't like when I defend myself.
Right.
So I happened to save the tweet. I took a screen capture of it because I shared it on Facebook also. So that's how I remembered who sent me that information. It's a random handle that found my Facebook. I found my Twitter. So I had reposted that on my new handle at the AFD podcast, and he responded again, just saying it was like a friend of his in LA who happened to be, I guess, just on the scene at that time, probably hired as an extra because he looked like a musician and just felt like doing it. And what I regret, I'm going to reach out to him again. I was lucky enough to interview Andy Morahan, the director of November Rain, and a bunch of like Don't Cry and The Garden of Eden. I don't think I asked him about that specifically. If I did, I don't remember. Not gonna lie, but obviously it would have stuck out if we figured that out. But yeah, we got to make it like a true crime podcast.
So, yeah, exactly.
If you're interested in doing some kind of collab, like what about like a serial style investigative podcast
Okay.
to find the cake jumper.
So I was like, okay, I can find Steve Henderson. I can Google, I can go through all the Steve Hendersons on Facebook. But then I saw back in your Twitter mentions, the guy came back, the original guy
Yes.
that said he knew him. And he said, wait, let me see. I took a screenshot of it. Still no luck. Just did a Google search and a Facebook search. I would think if he were still alive, he would have posted somewhere about being in the video. So if this guy that knows him can't find him on Facebook,
He might be dead.
how are we going to find him?
We hire that private investigator from Nathan for you. There's a million ways. Like, if we expend the resources.
But this guy's kind of implying that he might be passed away.
Oh, I think there's a good chance he's dead. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
it's like there's nothing wrong with confirming it.
Right. Exactly. So we should at least know and give him proper credit that he is immortal.
Absolutely. He deserves it, even after death.
Okay, the other thing too. So Steve Henderson, right? So we got a tip that he was a stuntman potentially. So I'm Googling Steve Henderson, stuntman, Los Angeles, right? And I found this guy on IMDb. This is Steve Henderson, but this is a middle-aged
Large black man.
Yes. So that's one Steve Henderson. So we know it's not this guy. I had a pretty good lead by Steve Henderson, the stunt person. So that's not it. But the other thing I can find is here's a fine artist named Steve Henderson.
Autumn Rain, huh?
And
interesting.
He's made this painting about autumn rain. It's November,
It really makes you
kind
wonder.
of autumn. Isn't it autumn? What's autumn?
Yes, Robin. November is in autumn. More from Steve
like-
Henderson. Let's see.
I feel like Charlie Day. Like, you know what Pepe is? Like,
Yeah, Pepe Sylvia. We talk about Pepe Sylvia all the time. So
Yeah.
here's Steve
Okay,
Henderson.
click that.
I mean,
I don't know. It kind of looks like he could have jumped through a cake.
yeah. I mean, imagine the hair. I guess he
take
would,
30 years off of it.
he's a white guy. They all look the
yeah,
same.
it's just a white guy. It looks like this guy
What's
lives
that,
in
Santa Claus.
Washington.
What does that say? Follow. Oh, are they kind of Jesus-y paintings?
No, not
Follow
really.
me where? Romantique.
Oh,
Oh, it's like
Oh.
the Titanic paintings. Oh,
They
we're
look
getting
like-
into. He likes
yeah,
the backs of
this
women.
one's cool.
These are all nude
Man.
backs.
Why don't you just follow this lead? I mean, it may not be, but in the off chance, you might get an interesting response.
Yeah.
yeah.
Should I follow both of these?
Flowers. Hey, those kind of resemble some bleeding flowers at a grave.
Yeah, let's see if there's anything November rain in here. People, let's see what we can find.
Kind of like it's a picture of Axel. We're like,
Yeah,
"Whoa."
imagine. No, these all look like he went to like painting school, and this is
Took a class.
took a class.
Yeah. A lot of Native American work.
So
Not bad. I mean, it's not bad.
Some
So
pictures
that
from
was
the-
the only things that I can find. I mean,
Wow.
I'm just but after reading what that guy posted to you, I was like, but here's the thing, we're also believing this random person.
Yes, but
Yeah,
this
this
is
is all going off this random guy. I don't know. I trust it's more than I
It's the
trust
only thing we
random.
have.
and this is how tips happen. This is why
Right.
it's true crime. Like, yeah, there might be a lot of bullshit, but you got to find that one. And so follow up with him. I would suggest following up with him and saying, do you know of anyone else who might know him?
Oh, that's a good idea. But this is the thing is there's a possibility, a realm of possibilities that the cake jumper isn't even named Steve Henderson.
Yes, there is. That's an absolute possibility.
Yeah.
I know, but we got to.
He misremembered. I mean, of course, what's so wild about this whole thing is like, it's credited online to Ricky Rachtman. It's very clearly not only not him, but Ricky himself in a forward email to Robin confirmed it isn't him. By the way, congratulations, Ricky. He got married yesterday.
Oh yes, I saw that. That picture.
Congrats to the happy couple.
And you asked him to, because it's so funny. I see him tweet every now and then.
We asked him.
Let me pull it up. Oh, it's good. So
Email, yeah.
I
Oh,
sent an
yeah.
email.
Okay.
It's a good email because
Good for him for a
it's
response.
really, really funny actually. So I just, we were Okay, cat house is what I'll search. We were frequenters of the cat house online store,
Okay. I bought
which
this.
is, huh?
I bought this sweatshirt.
Yeah, it's great. Tara stole mine.
Yeah.
Um,
I have a hat signed by Ricky himself too.
Nice.
so
He's a business.
I was on his website and man, what is happening right now? And I was like, I don't know. Have you been to the cat house website lately? It's a little like, it's not like
Easy to navigate.
it's not easy to
It's not the best. It's not the most well-made website.
Yeah. So I was like, this guy's he's not as big as maybe we think he is. And so he might be,
I don't think he's big.
he might be
He's big
able to
among
get
like a really weird niche group of people. The three of us potentially
Like Tracy.
spearheading that.
So
Yeah.
I sent him a really nice professional email. Let's look at this. Ricky Rockman interview, an important question about the November Rain video. This was a year ago, like almost exactly. Oh my God, exactly a year ago.
A year ago today.
Weird.
What are the chances?
That is bizarre. Hi, I will read it to you. Hi there. Our colleague and I have been creating an oral history and tribute to the November Rain music video. Ricky Rockman is an important cameo in the video that we discuss often. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. We have a few questions. We're seeking an answer to that and we can't find anywhere. We figured we'd go straight to the source. So the first question is, in several places, it's cited that Ricky is responsible for diving through the wedding cake at the reception. But on close visual analysis, it doesn't quite look like him. Can Ricky confirm that he's seen diving through the cake? Second question, were there multiple cakes and or shots of the dive through cake, or was it a one and done situation? Is it possible that Ricky dove through a different cake that didn't make the final cut? That's a good question.
Yeah.
And then I said, thank you for taking the time. And then he replied an hour later, I was not the one who jumped through the cake.
I was not the one who jumped through the cake. December 14th, 2020.
And then, of course, I replied and he said, thank you. I said, I pointed out to him that his former bosses at MTV are the ones that are citing it to him.
No response.
So, yeah, nothing.
For one, you should screen capture that response. And obviously take out his email and post it as the anniversary today.
It is the anniversary. Yeah.
It's funny that
This day in history, we got to do that, Rob.
Yeah.
He's right.
I want to laugh at a few things because for one, it's like he tweets that response to so many people, and it's for whatever. Like if people don't know, that's not even the point. For him, like to constantly get asked that question and like he'd take it. I'm glad he took time to respond to you, by the way, and didn't like. I respect that. The only reason I got him for an interview, by the way, somebody asked me this. Never, ever, ever. I don't know if you ever been someone's like for an interview. How much is it? Never, ever pay for an interview. Ever.
That's never even been.
All right. Good. Okay.
In the universe of disgust.
All right. Good.
Did Ricky want to get paid?
No, but it came up. He posted something, and I had a bunch of listeners tag me in it saying, if anybody who donates $50 to stop soldier suicide, I'll do a podcast. I'll do the podcast, like the first 10 on it. And that's what I did.
Oh.
So I wasn't paying for it.
We would have done that.
Yeah, I support that cause. Yeah. And so yeah, it was a great opportunity. I've been bummed though since because we had it was a great conversation. If you go back and listen, and like towards the end, he's like, I only have an hour. I gotta go do this. We'll back next time. And like it's just one time I responded on his Facebook saying, he's doing a live Facebook. So like you read comments, you respond to comments in real time. I was like, hey, my appetite for distortion with Brando Facebook. I'm like, hey, Ricky, hope to get you back on the podcast. Thought we had a good rapport. His response was, you thought we had a good rapport? You don't make that decision. I was like,
oh, I think he likes to do like spicy takes. I think he thinks he's kind of funny.
That just sounds dickish.
I know he's spicy, so I'm not gonna go Tracy Guns on him completely. But it's just like, all right, I don't need to talk to you again.
Yeah, Ricky.
I hope you get him. I hope you guys get him.
We haven't tried that hard. I mean, we'll comment on his socials, but there hasn't been like a formal request in a while. It's kind of
And
You
I'm
know,
letting
maybe
you
one of these
know-
days,
And now
maybe
he
one of
has his
these
own
days the stars
podcast.
will align and we'll get him. But I'm not like interested in fighting for Ricky at this point.
Okay, I'll show you that. Hold on. Oh, you know what? I can't show you this because, like in where you live, right? Cannabis is legal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so cannabis is legal here in New York. I have a. Where did I put
You
it?
have a Ricky Rockman, wait, headbangers bong, headbangers.
Head bongers bang.
Show this just to be that this is for real. Come on. I have my medical marijuana card. Just want to show you that for one.
Okay, cool, great.
It's legal.
FBI, they got it.
Right,
Wait,
right.
you
Noted.
wait, is weed not legal in New York?
It's only legal for medical reasons, not for recreational. To grind up my weed, I use Ricky's.
We have that.
The triple R.
We got that. We got it.
So
Yeah,
We both have one.
this is a nice way to share this, I think. So
that's
when I pour the weed, it goes right into his mouth.
oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I
I
think he
love
would like
that.
that.
Yeah.
I think he would like that. You know, I do think if Ricky came on, we'd have fun. But you know, the problem is we did an episode about him. And generally when we do episodes about people, the general consensus and our feelings towards those people are positive. But sometimes we say some things like, I know we made fun of his hair, you know? So if he listened to it, he might get mad about that.
That's a dilemma I feel with
Yeah.
sometimes when it's not even about like Tracy Guns or if not even with Guns N' Roses management. I never go mean, but things can be misinterpreted. And you know what? Coming from a sensitive person, if they are that sensitive, forget it. Like if he's that sensitive about his hair, you know, it's.
I tend to agree with you, Brando.
I agree.
Even if you listen to, let's say you listen to an episode where I make fun of his hair, or you listen to any of our other episodes and you get like the energy and the way Rob and I play off each other, that if that makes you uncomfortable, this isn't the podcast for you to guest on. And that's, you know, like, you know, if you're a sensitive person. And, you know, I agree. I'm both a sensitive person and, you know, kind of a snarky bitch at the same time. So, I think that if you guest on this podcast, if you're familiar with our podcast at all, you get that that is just our agreed upon rapport. It's just not a one-sided.
I was just like, why is it a bad thing to say? It was like when
Totally. It was a totally like appropriate, nice thing to say. Like I that would have see, that's the kind of thing that would have set me off really bad, and Robin would have had to like hose me down. So
it was like when I interviewed Scott Ian, and I wished him a happy Hanukkah, and he went on this diatribe about like how religion's bullshit. I'm like, I'm wearing like Guns N' Moses shirt. I'm just trying to relate to somebody. And like, you know, and I was like, why are you going off on this? So, I mean, I understand sometimes you catch people on a bad day, bad response.
Or you just say like a triggering thing, like one little.
Yeah, it happens. So I try not to myself take two things personally.
Did that make it into the podcast? That sounds cool.
About
him going off about religion. That sounds funny.
Scott Ian's a douchebag. And I think Anthrax is one of the worst thrash bands.
That's fine. I like a handful of their songs. I like Got the Time. That's good. And the Indians. Those are good songs. I just had Frank Bello on recently. He was a very nice fellow.
You know, Frank Bello just released a memoir.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be phenomenal. It's supposed to be really, really good. And I'm like, God, do I need to read Frank Bello's memoir? Robin would be interested in reading it, I think, because she likes those like rock memoirs. I think it would be a really interesting read.
Reach out to him. I got him, which is helpful. Like if they have a book out, go through their publisher.
Yeah, it's a good idea. You know, I just said I hated Anthrax, but I did also say that Frank Bello's book is supposed to be good.
See,
So
that's something else too, right? I may not be the biggest fan of something, but I'm not gonna tell. On an interview, I'm gonna be like, hey, I kind of like your band, but tell me more about you.
right.
If I ham it up a little bit, like who am I really hurt? You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm not. Yeah. I need to be able to make fun of people's hair in the 90s, you know, like,
sorry guys.
So
We have to exit Lanford, Illinois.
And if that's going to keep us and Ricky apart, I'm okay. You know,
Yeah,
we
I
gotta keep that, because there was some weird shit happening. We'll make fun of everyone's hair in the 90s, except for, I don't know. Eddie Rebel, maybe from Tommy Petty.
Eddie Rebel is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm a
So-
little sensitive, I'll admit, to people. Yeah, you make fun of people's hair, the 80s, the 90s, it's fine. But if they're, maybe it's because it's a personal thing. If they're balding or if they're hiding it, especially, which
I don't think we've ever would do that. I think that even I know to not do that.
many of our favorite rockers have
Yeah,
done.
no,
And like, you know what?
your baldness is safe with us, Brando.
So yeah, I try to understand the line. And again, I feel what was directed through me through a couple sources that Guns N' Roses management told after I got a few, after I got Frank Ferrer and Richard Fortas and Dizzy Reed one in the 8th time, because one time he slept through it and I spoke to him for like a minute.
Wait,
But his wife.
say what? Dizzy
first
Reed
time-
slept through your interview?
Kind of. The first time. I mean, I guess the first time I was with.
Were these in person when you were doing them in person?
No. God, I haven't done an in-person interview in a bit. No, that wasn't in person. That was just over the phone. That was when I was talking to Alex Grassi about, and it could be Dizzy Reed about Hookers and Blow, that side project.
Oh, we know about Hookers and Blow.
I'm sure you
They're
ended up-
playing soon at the old Whiskey A Go Go.
I have fun.
You
Have
got
fun.
well. I kind of want to go because I think that obviously I want to like get a chance to approach the Diz, but I think that we could potentially, try to get him on the pod.
Yeah, but so he's telling but I want to know how he fell asleep. This is very interesting.
I'm sure it was a night after a show. It was booked. I'm not exactly. I don't remember quite exactly, but him and his wife, Nadia. So it was Alex and Nadia I was doing the podcast with. And I kind of just kept alluding to, like, it's funny, teasing that Dizzy Reed is finally coming on the podcast. I had confirmation and he's sleeping through it. I'm not getting mad. I'm like, this is just a funny thing that's happening to the podcast. It's going to be a funny story. And then his wife, like, I'll wake him up for a little bit. I'll just go to, do you want me to go in his hotel room and maybe I'll talk to you for a minute, just say hi? I'm like, sure. You know what? Leave the phone on. This will be fun. Let's like walk us through, the hotel corridor, what you see.
Yeah.
And he just came on all groggy and be like, sorry, it's a late show. And I didn't even, that could be like deemed as unprofessional behavior, but like I didn't care at that point.
That's cool.
And then later on, because I'm like, I figured it, I'm like, you know what? Since I was friendly with Alex Grassi, he would get me a Dizzy Reed again. So I'm like, all right, it'll happen again when it's meant to be. And it did, thankfully. But now I only say was friends with Alex Grassi. He's a nice guy, but unfortunately, he is one of the people that will not do my podcast anymore, along with Dizzy Reed, because of Guns N' Roses management. So
Yeah. Got Team Brazil.
Well, you mean Team Brazil.
I've never spoken to them directly. I've heard nice things about them from certain people. I'm just going by what I've been told by 2 different reliable sources that the after my Frank interview, a text was sent out to Frank, Melissa, Dizzy, basically all not the big 3.
The side players, yeah.
To not do any more interviews unless approved by him, and that I was specifically mentioned.
Approved by
And him is
Axel?
Fernando.
Approved by Fernando.
Oh, okay.
I mean, again, this is how it was relayed to me. I'm paraphrasing, but it was the similar story told.
Sounds accurate. So
Julie
that
December. So what are you gonna? It's. I'm making this up. Like, some there are some like hardcore trolls being like, "Am I lying?" Sure, I'm lying about this. What a weird lie to make up.
Yeah.
And even before, just like with Tracy, before telling you this story, was years of trying to like polite email, letting it go, and then all of a sudden hearing I do an interview with the Use Your Illusion chiropractor, the TN'R chiropractor, who told a wonderful story about the riot in Colombia, a security guard getting hurt, and Axel's sister is there, who's a nurse, and she couldn't sew up his wound because it's like the chiropractor was there, but he didn't have any more anesthetics, and her idea was to get cocaine and just to put it on the wound, like the head wound.
Good cocaine will numb you right up, man.
So to use it medically. And it was funny because she came back an hour later looking all sullen, couldn't find cocaine. in Colombia.
In Colombia?
At Guns N' Roses, and
Yeah,
Doug
right.
Goldstein was my co-host for that episode, saying like, well, she wasn't asking the right band members. And it's a funny story. Then it gets relayed to me that upset Beta. Then, when I get Brain on, I'm told that gets it upset Beta. So it's like I try to reach out, like, hey, is there something I'm not doing? Is there something I'm doing? I avoid talk about new music. I try to avoid any hot topics. I've tried to play ball. So you know what? Now when I try to play ball, this is what you get. You get a New York.
So stop playing ball. Like I don't have any qualms about saying how I feel about Team Brazil and Fernando and Beta. And I mean, in our Art Tavana interview, it did change my perspective of them because he did give us a different angle, but I still, it makes me very uncomfortable. Huh?
Art is look, I said fuck Art, but I'll say this. He I guess don't trust him, and he showed me something that was kind of like a big thing with Guns N' Roses management. So I just don't know how much I can put stock into that book when he has information that he just really didn't share, and he was very condescending to me off the air and tries to half-ass apologize to me and then wants me to promote his book. So forget that. So he's tied into the whole Megillah.
I mean, it's definitely a grain of salt. I think the things that he was saying about it was pretty objective. It was just objective information that I just like choose to not pay attention to because I'm like so like tunnel vision into hating them. But he also in our interview
I'm not.
with him, he also in our interview with Art Tavana said that some of our information was wrong and his was right. So it was really this like he said like what book is telling the true story about this thing, and it's like I don't fucking know.
Look,
Whose source is right?
When he was on like a guest on my podcast, and I would let him co-interview some people with me. He flew close to the sun, and I think he was, and I mean that by getting close to management and trying to get maybe their blessing for the book and everything. And I think during that time, maybe there was rumblings of management just not liking that I'm unearthing stories. I created a Guns N' Roses podcast. Whatever people tell me, again, nothing has been, the criminal. Like these are all, if people take these sites, take these interviews, make clickbait articles out of them, how is that my fault? It's like, that's something that should be understood. You would think.
That's how the internet works. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but with Art, like he seemed to be understanding of that. And I think he just at one point wanted to distance himself from me because of that, and because he had a book to work on, and I just maybe that's Art calling right now.
Sorry, it's my.
So it was just I try to be respectful and not air all the dirty laundry, but again, these have been going on for years. So there was just should I burn the bridge and just set fire to everything?
No, there's a lot of dirt.
How I operate.
I'll save it. Because I always say I want. In order for me to be malicious and blow it up, people have to be malicious to me. So that's why Team Brazil hasn't directly been malicious to me. So that's why I'm not tunnel vision. I've tried to reach out and offer peace and did a whole episode about it. I offered, Fernando to be my guest on episode 300, and we'll just talk about him as a person. Just him as a person. Let's just get to know him. I'm not going to ask him and grill him about stuff. I'm sure his job is very hard.
Yeah.
If I was the Guns N' Roses manager, I'd probably be in a straitjacket. Like it must be a very stressful job. So I get it. But when people talk down to you, that's so when I hear Art Tavana and yeah, like all the best to him. We
haven't heard from him since we interviewed with him. Like
he's just I can't. Like yeah, he did. I'm sure, I haven't read his book. I'm sure it's fine.
I like it.
I'm not gonna tell.
But I think that like the point I was making about Art Tavana was the books all are saying conflicting information about Beta and everything else about like just the story and like
that's why Guns N' Roses is so great, because there could be 3 podcasts on Guns N' Roses. There can be all these different angles. It is the deep dive. It is the search for the truth, because we'll never know.
A mistake that we made early on is information from these books we were relaying as fact.
Okay.
And I think that's where it's like
Sarah hasn't read any of the books. I'll just state that.
Yeah, you were relaying information that like one person says is true and one person doesn't. It says isn't true. And so you don't know where the truth lies.
Sure. And I think as
with
long
any
as
book.
you have the self-awareness of that, and then that's the same thing with us at the beginning. We weren't there. We know as much as whatever the VH1 Behind the Music tells us, or interviews in the past. And even then, Slash's book comes out. That's from the source. His book
Definitely.
is according to people that know him.
It's like riddled. You can't trust a biography.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Exactly. So where's the truth?
Or autobiography. I'm sorry. Yes.
You're right. I understood what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I know it's hard to write a book, and it's hard to do a podcast. And when there are people that just for no real reason are putting up roadblocks or talking down to you and mistreat you, it's just why? None of us, like, did I freak out? I love the fact that there's you and Guns and Radio. Like, none of us do the same thing at all. And it's fine. Like, it's not I don't look at it as a competition. Like, it's just, I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing. And
They're all very different.
if people are, which people do, there are trolls that go out of your way to try to sabotage it. It's just like, why? Like, what is happening here? So that's kind of there's a piece of
the trolls are just they're they're offshoot of success, right? You live.
I look at it that way.
Yeah.
How my level of air quote success has gotten whatever trolls or reaction from Guns N' Roses manager. Can you imagine if I was the level of a Guns N' Roses, what Axl has to deal with, what they do have to deal with? So that's why I do empathize with what they have to deal with. But again, communication.
What public figures read about themselves and I without question couldn't handle it.
It's very difficult. That's what I talk about with. I'm going to post it. I don't know when you're posting this, but that's a lot of what I talk about with Dave Navarro in my interview with him, which is a lot of mental health talk on my podcast and in that interview, and that's part of it. So I was just, it's interesting. So yeah, as I'm writing, I'm helping write Doug Goldstein's autobiography, and I'm not going to really.
You're writing a book.
I am attempting to, yeah.
Wow.
So I've written, and I don't know if this counts. Years ago, I did a self-published book with somebody I worked with about a Cape Cod family, but that's just funny. Probably sold like 500 copies. But earlier this year, Doug Goldstein, who, much like Alan Niven, I don't know how it happened, just become friendly off the air, and he, as it comes up with people, like, you ever going to write a book? And Doug one day is like, I want you to help me write it. And we've kind of been doing that. We've been recording Zoom interviews, and I'm transcribing and organizing, and yeah, it's a work in progress.
That's cool. Wow. You're the new Anthony Boza. Yeah. You're gonna help write these autobiographies. But that's cool. Wow. Well,
yeah.
I would love to write a book, maybe, but I don't have the time and intention. So
it's hard because I have little time and attention as well. So, and I bless Doug for it. He knows he can go to a professional and get this done quicker. But I have jobs, not including the podcast, and other things I need to do. So I would like to get it done sometime next year. That's kind of the goal of it. But the reason I bring that up is, and he's somebody else, like, he was there. He knows Beta. You hear him when he talks, and I kind of mirror his sentiments. He's like, I'm not saying anything negative about them as people. Like, they clearly have given Axl something I couldn't have, this family atmosphere, and you see how happy he is. The band is reunited. Are there some things I may question being a manager?
They're bad managers.
But they've never.
I don't know if it's bad. It's just they could have done it differently to be better. I think is more what it is.
Yeah.
Sure. Like, make me an ambassador for Guns N' Roses.
Well, just like
Sorry,
release the tapes. They need to do a I've been talking a lot about the Get Back documentary of the Beatles at 8 hours. They could do an 8-hour Use Your Illusion behind the scenes tour directed by Peter Jackson.
They could authorize a 2-hour Guns N' Roses documentary, and it would be the biggest fucking rock and roll documentary of all time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's as simple as that. And I don't rule that out. I don't rule that out as a possibility in the future. But it's if Fernando and Beta decide
they just do 3D concerts instead.
Their narrative.
Well, again, I don't want to go. I'm not going to tell anyone else to think. I just talk about my experiences. I don't want to say it's there. At the end of the day, it's Axel. So I'm
Mhm.
sure they're following Axel's,
Sure.
orders, or for lack of a better word. But we got it, whether it was on purpose or not. And this is one that I admit that I'm just jealous of, this interview, but I'm not angry about it, not saying anything bad about Slash. But he did an interview on this like horror podcast. And that's all I've been professing. I'm like, all I want to do is talk to Slash about horror movies. So
Yeah.
he's on talking about this horror movie. And at the end, the interview asks about Use Your Illusion box set. And Slash confirms it. It was delayed because of the pandemic. It's probably going to come out next year.
Wow.
Cool.
And it's just like, all right, cool. Why did we have to find that out so matter of factly? Like, couldn't that have been announced last year? We're all going like, it's the 30th anniversary. What
Yep.
the fuck? So is that a manager decision? Is that Axel?
Yeah, that's
don't
hard
know.
to say because I don't know how much they have in control over Slash. So it's
None.
confusing.
None.
None.
It's not Slash. It's the
Guns N' Roses TM.
yeah.
They all share management. So this is something I've learned too. Because I got close to getting Duff once, and through my job, and it was canceled through not Team Brazil, but through another management. They just didn't, even though it was backed by my company, like they just didn't trust. Like it was about tenderness. It's like there's nothing to do with Guns N' Roses. Okay, so let's just talk about tenderness. Just couldn't do it, and I let that go for a while. And then the same manager was like cock blocking me from interviews with Dirty Honey and Hailstorm, and I'm like, what? Because Dirty Honey toured with Slash. He's being overprotective. So I had to send him an email probably in like the last month or so. Like you showed me the headline of your email earlier. Mine was just, I come in peace. Like, look, if you don't want to give me Duff, fine, but you're blocking me from other interviews. Like I'm a professional.
And why?
Maybe we should this is a good idea. We should be reframing our email headlines to be like urgent, you need to change your password or something like that. Something to fish them in.
No, I think it's spam. If I got that email, I
Spam.
would think it was spam and I delete it.
My friend, we always so I'm in kind of local politics stuff and activism, right? And we do these email campaigns towards the people in charge. And my friend, she always tricks them, and she's like, urgent. She pretends to be a PR company that says this looks really bad for you. You really need to change this, and you should stop doing this right away. So she like fakes being a PR person. It's great, so smart.
I guess, but if I found that out, and if that's how I got an interview, I wouldn't do business with that person.
Yeah, I know. Well,
honest.
The Wild West.
I try not to. It is the Wild West, but that's why I try not. I don't want to be mean right away at all. And I'm only telling you these stories again years into it. I'm like, why can't you get, trying to get Brain to come back on, and it's like he's been on twice, had a great time, and why is it a struggle? Because this GNR world is weird. So what this person eventually admitted to me that it was above him. That Guns N' Roses has a lot of managers, so it's just like,
so
what the hell? So I don't know.
This is cool though. Guns N' Roses, potentially Axel knows about your podcast.
That's
there's no question Axel knows about Brando.
That's great. Brando?
I will never admit that until
I could say I believe he does. And you know what, Robin, I think it's possible he knows about our podcast at this point.
Possible. The only reason I know Slash knew only because he had to let his son London on when he was 15. So I had to get
sign a
that. I don't know. I mean, I didn't even know about it. I was told after the fact. I guess this is.
Oh my God, that's so cute. I love it.
This is when he was in that band Classless Act, which is still active, but a completely different lineup. And I guess emailed the website, and this person got back to me, and it was just like that. And then after the fact, my connect goes, so London had to ask Slash and Perla, and I'm like, oh my God, thank you. That means so much. Just like to give me that kind of permission, that just made me even more appreciative of it. Because
Slash is like a good dude. He's a nice dude.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's why I'm not going to get. Even like with Doug's experience with him, I'm not going to make my experiences with him, because you'll read about Doug's or Matt Sorum's when his book eventually comes out.
Yeah.
But all these different. How did I get glue on me? I don't know where. Where was I? I was distracted by the glue. I was close to Slash. Just getting. It's okay, like not to. it's a dream of mine. Yeah, he knew about it, but like I don't know what your goals, if you had goals with this podcast, if you guys do. But
Our
to me,
goal
it was
right now is identify the cake jumper.
Mhm.
Once we figure that out, we'll have a new goal.
perfect. So I really didn't know what it would be. I never thought I would. Yeah, I worked in radio before. I had a chance to interview some celebrities before doing this podcast, but never this frequently. But I never was like, this was a goal to get interview Slash or for Axel to know about me. So just interviewing his 15-year-old son and talking to him like an older brother, that was fun for me.
That's cool.
These little things come out. So that's fine. As far Duff, I know knows because Susan has asked him.
Yeah.
I've gotten Susan Holmes McKagan on a couple times, who's very sweet. Even off the air, she said, yeah, I'll talk to Duff. Yeah, sometimes he's funny with those things. And I'm like, all right, no, I'm not gonna. When I first got the rejection, I was really hurt, and I tweeted that, and I was shot out to, because it happened. Tweets live forever, even though it's down. Mike Squires, who does my theme song, and in Loaded, he's like, you should take that down. I mean, he's a nice guy. I'm sure it'll work out at some point. Like, and I'm like, you know what? All right, I'm getting emotional. Fine, I just felt like, I don't know, I felt like rejected. Like this girl said yes to me to going out, and then all of a sudden it was like, nah. I was like, come on, you hurt my heart.
And that's why both in dating and the podcast, I think I'd rather be ghosted than flat out rejected.
Right. So there's a lot of, I don't know. There's a lot of, I tweeted this today. Like, I'm allowed to be emotional. Guns N' Roses. I mean, Axl Rose is my favorite lead singer. Like, that's just, you're allowed to be that way. So Duff, yeah, I don't know if he remembers, but he knew about it at one point. And I'm trying to think that's the big three. Is Axl. I mean, I just can't imagine.
He's never done anything like this.
But he does Scooby-Doo.
I know
Scooby-Doo's iconic. Don't minimize Scooby.
Of course not. I've interviewed the writers for Scooby and for Looney Tunes. And that was all. Those were awesome.
Cool.
Reach out to Mike Ryan, who did
wow.
Maybe he'll want to do an interview with you. And that's why I used a lot of the backdrops. I had like Scooby, and I got you, Tara. I think
Tara loved the backdrop.
So I got the idea from you.
Yeah,
so credit to you. I used Scooby-Doo backgrounds when I was interviewing Mike Ryan.
It was a cool episode. So, but he's the white whale. So
sure, it's okay. And you know what? Like, who I've reached out to a few times, and his connect said maybe not now, and we'll see. And I consider him a white whale. It's Kurt Loder. See if I mean.
Oh, same. I want to get Kurt Loder as well.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about various like early VJs and MTV News guys. Yeah,
sure. And it's okay to talk about them, and it's not just saying like he won't do my podcast. What a jerk! Like, who am I?
I want to get Dave Holmes. That's someone I want to get. I want to get
Pauly Shore.
Obviously, you want Pauly Shore.
I got Pauly Shore, right?
I would
no, that's cool.
Robin, who has his number? You or X? Some of us does.
Oh, he's around. He's around all the time.
He's around.
Not lately.
I don't know. I mean, I could say for sure that Robin and I have never considered getting any of the members of Guns N' Roses on, and never shot for it. And that's really not, that would for us be a point where it'd be like the end for us. Sure. So I think that we need to stay as in like our learning sphere as long as we can to drag this out. Once we have all the answers.
I like that. I like you. No, you're being smart about it. I don't know how I was sucked into this Guns N' Roses world that has brought me into a lot of joy, some stress, but mostly joy. But I got Pauly Shore. He was actually one of the guests I wanted so bad on the podcast too. See, that's who it is. That's who I was, and not Axl. I mean, yes, Axl and Slash, but Pauly Shore was a dream interview. He was doing a press for, oh my God, Family Feud on the road. It was a traveling Family Feud.
Yikes.
And yeah, so I reached out to him, and he even said in the interview, he was like, I could have said no to this, couldn't I? I'm like, yes, you could have. So I don't know. I don't know what made him say yes. I tried reaching out to him again because he I don't know if you follow, I follow him on Facebook. He was going to the Guns N' Roses concert, and he's like, I want to meet Axl. I want to sit on his lap. And I was like, oh, people are sending me this.
Odd thing to say. Okay.
He's Pauly Shore.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Someone, yeah.
Try. Get him.
You know, we've got a list of people. Robin and I are constantly sending out requests, and I mean, right now we have some good leads, some good stuff coming. We released some cool guest interviews.
But yeah, we got to get Steve Henderson or Steve Henderson's widow, child, orphan, maybe.
Yes.
Little orphan child.
That
But
maybe we can go visit.
Brando,
Yeah.
you've been podcasting for the past like 3.5 hours. So I think that it's fair to let you go. But I think that we could all talk endlessly. And I mean, let's get you back on again and often if you're willing.
Yeah.
Sure. No, this was good. Like easy, easy conversation to have, and that's kind of my approach.
Thank you so much. And you always have a really good perspective and insider stuff that like it's a trustworthy source, unlike the others. And I
try to be, and if I don't know, I will let you know. I don't say things that, I don't spread lies, GNR lies. I don't do that.
You don't. Me and Tara both got lies tattoos on us, so pretty cool.
Oh, you do? Let me see.
Yeah. Look at them.
I got the hat.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
This is actually tight. This is all. Go on Amazon. This is where I got my user link.
Yeah.
Some more Amazon bootleg shopping, Robin. I think my only Guns N' Roses bootleg merch item is a $10
scarf
that was a pink scarf with slash on it from the off ramp at the Big California show. It's actually very cool. But
it's not good though, because I think Axel and Fernando are against bootlegging. I think they came up with that. That came out this past.
I mean, most artists that are merch driven are against bootlegging, but
hey, you know what? I buy stuff at the shows. I buy stuff on Amazon.
Same. I bought that $75 orange T-shirt and that $50 lip.
Yeah. Oh, we all have that. We should have coordinated.
$10 scarf.
We should have next time.
God, that would be cool.
Yeah. Next time we will.
Next time we'll coordinate.
Brando, thank you so much.
Okay.
All right.